Hey guys, Jules here for WhatCulture.com, and I'm here to talk to you today about fashion. Clearly not my own, as I look like a librarian covered in lint, but about WWE fashions, and especially those that showcased at last night's Survivor Series. While it might just have seemed like a sea of red and blue, there were actually a ton of little nods and asides to wrestling legends, pop culture icons, and just some that were, well, a little bit weird. So I'm Jules for WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 hidden meanings behind outlandish WWE Survivor Series 2018 attires. And if you want to read the original article by Michael Hamflett, then you can do so on WhatCulture.com. Number 10, The New Day. Regulars on these lists, such as they are, The New Day nailed their attire choice as usual with a stirring reminder of the Blue brand's past as they proudly represented its present. With their team names scrawled in the exact style of the original and much-loved SmackDown logo, Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods and Big E also had the iconic giant fist from the second SmackDown set breaking down the walls, pretty much in the same fashion as how they did with their remarkable 4-year run. Looking at these brought back many a good memory and also a reminder of just how bloody good SmackDown 2 was on the PS1. You know I'm right. Number 9, The USOS. Bravely throwing back to a darker times as forgotten followers, the SmackDown Live team captains embraced their history with the brand as well as tough family times by sporting blue and black baggy shorts and tribal leg sleeves akin to their play hard in the paint personas. Now, Jimmy and Jay are anything but buried treasures in 2018, even if they were confined to the pre-show here. Acting as the pitchmen for the entire Blue crew, the New Day announced the Usos as arguably the greatest tag team on God's green earth, and in terms of entertainment value and match commitment, they certainly are up there. And they had the swagger and the confidence to wear the compliment as well as their attire. Number 8, Alexa Bliss. Now, Alexa Bliss's recent injuries have forced her into a pseudo-manager of late, but she's proven just as deft in that department as she has in her relatively short in-ring career. And last night she was part ringmaster, part Mike McGurk in her raw red blazer and vintage Lurex suit. The callback to the low-key pioneer and former ring announcer was particularly well pitched considering her current role as a microphone maestro. Fingers crossed that she can crack the whip just as hard for other members of the roster as she did for her team while she recovers and keep up that simmering heat. Number 7, BAYLEY and SASHA Banks. BAYLEY and SASHA Banks are always reliably well turned out for special occasions such as this, and rocked another matching effort here that bore a striking resemblance to Bob Sparkplug Holly's 1995 attire. This may not have been a happy accident. Holly scored tag team gold alongside the 1-2-3 Kid as late substitutes in a tournament that culminated at that year's Royal Rumble. Were the Hugger and the Boss mindful that their own appearances were from the bench and thus playing tacit tribute to the two sports superstar? Number 6, Seth Rollins. Now, while at first it might have seemed a bit lazy that Seth Rollins sported the same half-and-half motif as he did back in 2017, we have to remember that he is a fractured man in more ways than one. Now, he's owned his Monday Night Rollins persona more than ever thanks to a string of exceptional encounters, but he's lost his other half in Dean Ambrose thanks to his devastating turn on the night their Hounds of Justice comrade Roman Reigns faced his leukemia crossroads. This outfit had the sad echoes of the latter, whilst the power of the former that edged him forward to a narrow victory against Shinsuke Nakamura. Number 5, Shinsuke Nakamura. And speaking of the United States champion, Shinsuke Nakamura's bizarrely brilliant one-piece has left a lot of people wondering if he's truly of this world. His stunning charisma and intergalactic commander look appear as if they're transcending the often compared Michael Jackson vibes, and the full blue wash speaks of a man who not only represents the brand, but has become it. There's something to be said of just the simplicity of just fully adorning your team colours, but to any football fan out there, it's one of the best unifying factors you can have. It was slightly spoiled, however, with the obligatory SmackDown Live t-shirt, but what the hey, it looked amazing regardless. Number 4, ENZO Amore. Well, here's a name I didn't think I'd see, but yes, it's true that ENZO Amore appeared on last night's pay-per-view during the battle between The Bar and the AOP. Briefly seen in the crowd before being ejected, Enzo stood on his chair, ripped off a wig and coat to reveal a blue shirt based on his mega-selling NXT design with former partner Big Cass. It said, "I'm doing great," referring to the "how you doing" on the original. It was a crazy move, as was the image of him holding a custom belt, but I think it's clear that Enzo would like to remind us that he's doing well, apparently. Number 3, Shane McMahon. If Shane McMahon's rumoured heel turn is now being canned as a result of the shocking Daniel Bryan turn last week, he was quick to adjust what would have presumably been a brilliantly obnoxious bit of self-promotion on his part for his Survivor Series attire. Donning his own clobber instead of a SmackDown Live shirt, because of course he was, Shane had "best team in the world" adorned across his shoulders. Ironically, the best shot of this came when The Miz callously shoved his boss back into battles to try and save his own skin. It was quite funny though, wasn't it? Number 2, Charlotte Flair. The former SmackDown Live Women's Champion wasn't prepared to settle for being a substitute in her biggest singles match since stealing the show with Becky Lynch at Evolution, but took one for the team nonetheless by adorning her rose gold attire with blue diamond studs that wouldn't look out of place on a fine Flair family robe. It was a big nod not only to her father, as is common, but the transcendence of his legacy to become the Queen, and she looked like absolute wrestling royalty on her way to the ring. It's a shame, therefore, that her night ended at the unfiltered rage of Ronda Rousey, but there we go. However, before we get to our number 1 spot, we decided to give a massive honourable mention that deserves a place near the top of this list, and that is Velveteen Dream's amazing attire at NXT TakeOver War Games. Not only was Dream's match against Ciampa one of the highlights of the night, with Death Valley drivers onto concrete, then we had aerial high flying, absolutely brutal shots, and draped DDTs that would knock your absolute block off. It was all kicked off in the right way by being so immensely over the top. Fitting for the Staples Center in Los Angeles, because Velveteen Dream came down to the ring dressed as Hollywood Hulk Hogan. In his black and white tights with lightning stripes all over it, complete with feather boa and even the weight belt, Velvet Mania ran wild, and he even incorporated Hogan's moveset into the match itself, hitting the big boot and a series of leg drops on Ciampa, which admittedly Ciampa did pop up from nearly immediately. It sort of highlighted that this was definitely more of a rib than anything else, but to behold Velveteen Dream mocking Terry in this manner, similar to how he was bantering him off on Twitter, this is something much like his wrestling that is just completely out of this world. It was hilarious, and me and Nicholas laughed so much on the stream that it was unbelievable. So yeah, big props to that. Anyway, now on to number 1. And number 1, Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan did a wonderful job of robbing the audience of everything they loved just 5 days removed from his shocking heel turn and WWE Championship victory. When he last held the gold, he did so with a grip pointed to the heavens, yes, chanting for millions that shared his triumph. Here, he considered the gesture before abandoning it completely, wearing the belt above black trunks that completed an edgier aesthetic. Gone were the bright shades of blue, green, and/or burgundy. Ebony boots and tights mirrored his opponent's palettes instead. He wasn't interested in the universe, and his choice of attire showed his abandonment of his care for them. Instead, it was more pointed at his rival, mirroring Brock Lesnar's attire in a way, and thus allowing the match to feel like a battle between Daniel Bryan's unleashed inner beast and the very real one standing in front of him. And there we go. Those were 10 hidden meanings behind Outlandish Survivor Series 2018 attires. Like I say, go check out Hamflet's original piece on this at WhatCulture.com and leave a comment down below as to which was your favourite ring attire. And as always, I've been Jules, you've been awesome, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye!